1867?
A gentleman named Nicholas Otto invented the Otto Langen engine because his partner was Langen. This is the first commercially successful internal combustion engine in the world. It is a replica that was manufactured by one of our volunteer engineers named Grenning. And the way this engine works, on the upstroke, it cycles in air, and these are called slide valves here. And it's just gone through a cycle. It is pulled in a cycle of air. The piston rises up, drawing in the air. The piston rises up a little further, and another slide here has a traveling flame inside of it. That flame communicates with the cylinder, combustion takes place, and the piston is pushed up. Now, when the piston is pushed up, that is not the power stroke. As the piston drops down, the weight of the piston and the assemblage drops down and operates a one-way clutch, an example of which is right here. As the piston goes up, it freewheels on the flywheel. As the piston drops down, the clutch grabs the flywheel and spins the flywheel. This is a replica of a 1/2 horsepower engine. The largest they made was 3 horsepower, which weighed 3 tons and would shake the floor when it was operating. It burned illuminating gas. Illuminating gas was manufactured by taking coal, shoving it in a chamber, closing the door, lighting a coal fire underneath it to heat it up and boil off the volatile gases. This is called a gas bag over here. They had illuminating gas in the cities, and the buildings were plumbed with small piping to illuminate, to run gas lamps. When they started installing these engines, the piping was not sufficient to provide the quantity of gas required. And what would happen is the engine would call for a slug of gas, the pressure in the piping would go down, the gas lamps would go out or flicker. The gas bag provides the volume to provide a constant amount of gas in here so that when we do call for fuel, we don't suck the piping dry. Thus the mechanism here to make the Otto Langen engine work. The exhaust comes out in this pot here. So the flyball governor, which you see right here, actually, as the speed of the engine decreases, the flyballs go in, allowing the exhaust to be relieved more quickly, and as the exhaust is relieved, the piston falls more quickly, calling for another cycle of the engine to operate. This is a non-compression engine. It is not even called two-stroke. The next engine we look at is the soundbar engine. So we said that is slide valve flame ignition. This isn't operating right now, but it also is a flame ignition engine. The way the engine operates, this has a flywheel. The purpose of the flywheel on all the engines is to maintain momentum between power strokes. The way this works is, as the flywheel moves, the piston at the bottom starts rising up. The piston rod is here in the middle. As the piston rises up, it sucks in air. It moves a spool valve which admits illuminating gas. This is called an accumulator. It has the same function as the gas bag. It allows for a large volume of air, of illuminating gas to be there. The natural gas, or the illuminating gas and air come in, the piston continues to rise, and there is a flame that burns continuously against the cylinder wall. As the piston comes up, it exposes a port in the cylinder wall. Combustion takes place. The piston is pushed up. That is the power stroke. The flywheel continues around, and it is exhausted out the bottom, and so it's a two-cycle engine. This is a true two-cycle engine. This is a lot less expensive than the Otto Langen is, but they sold a lot more Otto Langen engines. The reason being, the Otto Langen was much more efficient than the Sombart engine. Nicholas Otto and his buddy Langen took this Otto Langen engine, their first engine, to the Paris Convention in 1867. In the Paris Convention, they judged the engines, and Langen had a friend who was one of the judges, and convinced him to judge the engine not on its size and horsepower, but on its fuel efficiency. And was able to convince him to do that, and they spent 3 days judging the engines. At one point, they required Otto to lift his engine up off the floor, thereby to expose all the cables and levers that were making his engine so successful. They did not find any such thing. They awarded Otto and Langen first prize, and that launched them into the Otto Engine Company's industrial career. We'll move to the next engine over here.